And then you have Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. That's the state of boxing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That sink in.
Jake
that's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They go, the rehydration limit or something is 195. And he goes, wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes that he's too big for him.
One thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later.
Joe Rogan just warned everyone this Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight might turn deadly. One man's a tank at 200 pounds, the other's just 135, and yet, it's happening. What's really going on behind this insane matchup? During a recent podcast, Joe Rogan broke down the much-hyped fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, saying, this could get ugly. He warned that the huge weight gap between them could make things dangerous. Rogan reminded everyone that weight classes exist for a reason. Jake Paul's size and power give him an advantage, but Gervonta's skill and speed make it an exciting clash. Still, Rogan believes the physical difference could turn this fight into something unfair and risky.
My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm an idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love
that
everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia. So it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Joe Rogan kept stressing how massive the weight difference is. Jake Paul usually fights around 195 to 200 pounds, close to cruiserweight. Gervonta Davis, on the other hand, has spent most of his career at lightweight, around 135 pounds. That's a difference of more than 60 pounds, almost a different sport altogether.
It is happening. A lightweight champion, Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135-pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Many boxing experts and athletic commissions have also criticized the matchup. They argue that such a big weight gap should never be allowed under normal boxing rules. Even if it's an exhibition fight, they believe this kind of mismatch hurts the sport's integrity and could put a fighter in serious danger.
100%. He should beat Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
You don't think... Sorry, so... I thought we were all unanimous here. Do you think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds.
Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro.
5'5".
That's what I'm saying.
Jake Paul,
he's a little man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up,
move on,
and absorbing punishment and walking forward, and look, there's a way they wanted.
Rogan said this fight feels more like a show than a fair competition. 135 versus 200? That's insane, he said, emphasizing how wild it sounds in traditional boxing. He also warned about the risk factor when one fighter is so much heavier, their punches carry far more force. That increases the chance of injury. No matter how skilled the smaller fighter is, the danger is real.
In boxing, so you got Canelo Crawford, you got Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, that's happening. And then you have Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. That's the state of boxing.
Yeah, that's
right now.
crazy.
Let that sink in.
Jake
That's
Paul,
boxing right now.
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They're all expedition.
None of them are.
They're exhibitions.
But what does that mean?
Just means that you don't really. Nobody wins.
They're not.
Right.
It's kind of. I mean,
It's weird.
I don't want
I
Jake to sue me. They're not. It's not like a real scrap. It's
So-
not real.
Really? So they're not trying to knock each other out?
No.
Well, Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather don't like each other. They have not liked each other forever.
Tyson and Mayweather.
Yes,
But they like
Mike
money.
Tyson and Mayweather don't like each other.
Huh.
If there's a fight that might be real, like where Mike Tyson might say, "I'm going to knock this out," or "I'm going to try to knock this motherfucker."
It would be
out."
Because of these concerns, several special rules have been added. The fight will be classified as an exhibition, meaning it won't affect either boxer's official record. They'll fight at a set catch weight of 195 pounds, use specific glove sizes, and have judges present even though it's not a pro match. These rules are meant to make the fight look official, but safer.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Okay. But, and so what does that mean? Is that 3-minute rounds?
Yeah, 10 3-minute rounds.
And when you say exhibition, like, what are the restrictions on that?
No restrictions, just the fact that like we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
Critics like Daniel Cormier agree with Rogan. He admits Gervonta Davis is the more talented boxer, but the weight gap makes the fight feel more like entertainment than real sport. Cormier said, "Jake Paul is just too big. You can't ignore that." He questioned how the boxing commissions even approved such a lopsided fight, calling it one of the strangest matchups in modern boxing.
It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled, but this fight should not be happening. And the press conference was embarrassing. Gervonta Davis should not have a mic in front of him. It was absolutely embarrassing watching this thing.
D, why, D?
Just the fact that like every time when Jake Paul would say something to Gervonta Davis, he didn't know how to answer it. He was comparing himself to like P. Diddy at moments, and I was like, "Oh my God, get a mic away from this guy. This fight shouldn't be happening." And then he didn't even know what weight they were fighting. He's like, "I thought
That's
it was
bad,
190,
D.
it was 195."
That was the craziest thing. That was the thing that stood out to me the most. Was that when they go, the rehydration limit or something is 195. And he goes, "Wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
Cormier also talked about another issue: weight cutting. He said many fighters dehydrate themselves to meet the weight limit, then rehydrate before the fight. That can create a dangerous situation. The smaller fighter stays light, while the bigger one regains all that weight and walks into the ring much stronger. In Jake versus Davis, Cormier believes this imbalance could be extreme: one man fresh and powerful, the other undersized and vulnerable.
I think it's the most dangerous thing in the world. With us, we would go on Thursday night. If I weighed 216 and I had to be 205 by Friday morning, I would get as low as I possibly could and then try to go to bed. So if I'd get to 207, I would hope that by the morning I'd be 206. I'd only have to lose a pound in the morning. So I'm dehydrated for 12, 13, 14 hours. Those guys today are going to bed at that weight, Joe, 10, 11 over, and waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and cutting the weight. Because they said if they cut all that weight, they don't sleep, which I can attest to. It don't matter how much melatonin you take, you're so dehydrated. You're not gonna get a good night's sleep. I think it's dangerous.
Why is it dangerous?
Because you have to cut 10 pounds in 4 hours. If you don't, you're screwed. Because the worst possible feeling, you expect to lose 8, but you might lose 6 or 5.5. And then you're like...
Cormier couldn't believe how this fight was organized in the first place. He said even at the press conference, Gervonta looked unsure about which weight class they were fighting in. For Cormier, that's a big red flag. In boxing, weight classes exist for safety, and the confusion around this one makes it seem messy and unprofessional. He called it one of the most confusing setups I've ever seen.
Jake Paul. Yesterday they had their first press conference. One of the most recognizable things is Jake Paul is huge compared to Gervonta Davis. And two, Gervonta Davis don't even know what weight they fighting, D.
Maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition. The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know.
DC, I watched this, and we have our priorities way misplaced when we're talking about boxing. Like, everybody's complaining about this Ali acting on. Like, how is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
Coach Calvin Ford, Gervonta's longtime trainer, has mixed feelings about this matchup. He admits the size difference is crazy but says Davis chose to accept the challenge. However, Ford's main concern is glove size. He said 12-ounce gloves are usually for training, not fighting. He suggested Davis wear 8-ounce gloves and Jake use 10-ounce gloves to make things fairer. But Jake's camp refused, saying they don't want to mix glove sizes. Ford said he's worried, but his fighter is ready to go regardless.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s. So he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be an expedition. What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So again, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got to fight.